record. And you all should get like a little, I don't know if you get a pop-up that says you're being recorded, just so you know that, excuse me, we're being recorded.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, so yeah. So what I wanted to do tonight was to kind of like walk people through the course and share my screen. It's why I record it, so that people that can't be here have an idea. From the people that have posted in the getting to know you discussion already, it seems like most people have experience with online courses, but there are some for whom this is their first time doing it. And one of the students I know is also a high school student. And so I think it's helpful to kind of walk through things and also to kind of understand what the expectations for assignments and such. And then have, for those of you that are here, when you take in your online courses, have you used Canvas before or a different learning management system?
Yes, Canvas.
Canvas. So Canvas.
Yeah, Canvas, same here.
Good. Okay. I mean, I've used Canvas. Okay. So you guys are the experts and will be able to help people if they have questions. I try to put links to the guides in case people have questions. And I will show you how to get there as well. So let me start by sharing my screen. I don't need that. And we don't, oh, let me start here. Are people, has everybody been into the chat, the Google chat? Because there's 23 members. And so this is what it looks like on my end, the different students. And I send you a picture, a GIF or something when you say hello. And then there's an assignment to follow up with that. So I'm just showing you that. And so let's do that. I'm gonna move this over to my other screen. So if you see me looking away, it's because I have a second screen. It's not like I'm trying to be rude. Alrighty, so let me show you the student view. And please, those of you that are here, feel free to ask questions if you have questions that come up, or if I skip something that you have a question on, let me know. When you first come to the course, it's going to take you to the home page. Some people have that set up to where you come to the modules page. I have it set up to where you have any recent announcements that have come through. And I usually do maybe one a day or one or two a day or every other day. So to try and keep in contact with you. For the announcements, you can, so for example, tonight there was the message that went out. When I send an announcement, you have the opportunity or the option to reply to it. So if you have a question about it, that's your opportunity in the announcement to do that. So I like that feature, because if you have a question, I'm pretty sure other people have the same or similar question. So you have the announcements. It will also show you what's on your to-do list or assignments that are due. So that's all there. The first week, there's kind of a lot of stuff. There's a lot, and then it kind of settles a little bit. Week 4 has kind of a lot, week 5 a little bit, and it sort of tapers a little bit in week 6. I want to make sure that people understand on the Canvas side what's available. You have your account here, which I don't think it's going to let me do. Well, maybe it does. Because see, it's not going to let me do that. So let me show you. I want to make sure that students know how to access your notifications. So I'm going to account and I'm going to notifications. Do any of you that are here have your notifications sent or use that feature?
Like whenever you post something, we get a notification?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, that works.
And do you find that helpful?
I do, because I just look at my phone. I can be at work during my break and I just have a notification pop up, and that's just like a helpful reminder for myself.
Yes, and I think it's good. Thank you. I think it's good, like especially for discussions, if you have it set, so then you know if somebody replies to your post or to the discussion, you can go in and reply. You don't have to keep going into the course. You know, it just pops up on your phone. And so you have the different activities. You can either have it sent as an email or as a push to your phone. Course content files announcements. So I have mine come up as a text notification. When something gets graded, you'll get a notification so that you can look and see what the grade is and what my feedback is. Discussions, right? So you want to just go through that and make sure that you have those set so that you're not missing anything. Because then it'll pop up right away and you'll know. You have your let's go back, your dashboard, which will have the courses on it that you are currently enrolled in. So you'll have the growth and development here. And then another nice feature is the calendar. Do any of you use the calendar through Canvas?
I have.
You have? Do you find it useful?
Especially when it comes down to the discussion, because you're supposed to post your original post one day and then you got to reply 2 days later or something like that. And that got me confused in the past. So I started using that calendar so it'll remind me that I needed to post.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And that's kind of how I have it set up for the discussions. That's why I have what I call reminder assignment. That is, it's not worth any points. It's just reminding you that, hey, your initial post is due, so that it shows up on the calendar. And anytime, so my growth and development courses are in pink here. So for example, for that reminder, I click on it and it actually takes me to that assignment. So I can look and see what it was telling me, as well as going to the week 1 module. Whoa, don't want to delete that. And then to go to the next month, because most of your classwork will be in the month of July. It's going to take a minute to load here. My public health class is in green, but most of your assignments are going to be due on Sundays. So again, you just you click on it, it takes you right there, gives you the guidelines, so you can go there and do that. So that's a good one. Your inbox, I don't know on the student end what it really looks like, but look for emails because that's how I send emails through Canvas and to your student at Hartnell EDU account. And so please, you can set notifications for that as well in case there's an email. The other helpful place is the little help icon there. You can search Canvas guides. They have Canvas support for students. Those are mostly my stuff there. You can ask a question, has all these resources. I like the Canvas guides, and those are the links that I provide for you. It takes you right to the Canvas community, and there's student guides. So there's a getting started, there's basics, whatever you need. So you would go to the student, and it gives you all, how do I manage Canvas notifications as a student, right? So you have that available as well. And let's go back to our dashboard. And let's see. Oh, okay, so there's a question. I'll get to that in a second when we look at the assignments for the week, because it's going to come from your textbook, which you don't have a textbook, you have open educational resources. And where, does anybody know where you would find the textbooks to know where the links are for those? So one place was in the welcome announcement, which is there when you came on. So it will tell you right here, there's no textbook, we're using educational resources. So any of the key terms would come from either human development, lifespan human development, which is, it's sort of an online course kind of thing that goes through all the developmental stages, as well as there is a book, Child, Family, and Community. So, those are your textbooks, and then there'll also be references in the lessons for each course. So if you want to download it and put it on your desktop, then it's easy to access. And so there's really no reading for this week or next week. In week 3, we really get into using these particular resources. But for, oops, why did I do that? That was not good. There we go. As we go through the first page, I'll show you where you can get the definitions for this week and for next week. So your landing page is the home page, which is the overview. And you will always have a link to the week 1 module, week 2 module, each module. You can also reach it over on the left menu here in modules, and it will tell you what the outcomes, the learning outcomes are for the week, and what you basically have to do if there's assignments to do. And so these are the things that you're asked to do this week, is to go through the welcome module. And I use a lot of hot links. So to get there, you can either click on the link or you can go to modules and kind of walk through those so that you know that there's a research paper that's due. There's a capstone assignment, which is, there's not a multiple choice final exam. It's this project. And then based on that, there's this learning activity, syllabus review activity. Let me click on that. Right? So you click on the activity and it takes you to the assignment, and it tells you this is the due date. The due date is June 29th, which is tomorrow. You also have a link that takes you to the week 1 module. Again, you can find it on the left-hand side. So you read through the syllabus, which I'll show you where that is in a second. And then, oh, here's where I need to click. Let me click on that. And it will take you to the Google Doc where you have to write something. And students have already started the assignment. And so basically what you have to do is add something to the list about oh, look at that, nice. And it looks like Andy's got something in there. And so you have to write some key point or some takeaway from the syllabus, but you can't copy what anybody else has said, right? So then by the end, we'll have like 32 key points from the syllabus. Right, and that's worth 10 points, and that's all you have to do is add your sentence to that Google Doc. Does that make sense? Or give me a thumbs up or something if you don't want to unmute. Do you know how to find your?
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and so we go back to the overview again. And then now we're going to work on the communication lesson, because communication, that's also, thanks Clarissa, we got the thumbs up there, because that's really important. When you're a healthcare professional, you need to know how to talk to people. And so there is a communication chapter here, and this communication chapter will have some of the keywords in it, like message, feedback, the sender, the receiver. So that's one place to get the key terms. And another place, once you're done with that chapter, another place will be the lesson, which I'll show you. And then you'll see you have activities that are related to communication. And so basically you're just going to go through each one of those, the Google Chats, right? You click on it, again, it takes you to the activity. It says, join the chat, which most everybody, we have 23 right now. And then you go down to the Google Doc, and then you add your information, which again, students have started doing, which is great. This assignment and that syllabus review assignment are due by tomorrow at midnight. Everything else is due later in the week. So just make sure, and you can see that people have gone in. I'll put comments in eventually, right? But you're just commenting on, I said hi, and this is the image or whatever she sent back, I sent back to you. And I think Google Chats is great. I think I don't even know what it is, however you feel about how it could help with communication between students and students and myself. And then if we go back, this actually link will take you back to the modules. So there is a way to get back to the modules from that home page. I'm going to go back to the home page and keep scrolling till we get to the end of that one. Another topic this week is Healthy People 2030, and as well as governmental influences in healthcare. So there's a discussion. These are your key terms. And then I also wanted you to take a look at the research paper, which is there. There's a module that you're going to look through, and you actually have an assignment. The introduction is due this week. And we'll look at that as well. And there will also be quizzes, one quiz every week. It'll open Friday at 8 in the morning and close on Sunday. I'll give you some focus areas for those, and you take them at home, and usually there's 2 attempts. You have maybe 1 to 2 hours, depending on how much information is in there. And that's how the quizzes will work. Well, gosh, Mrs. Solinger, that's a lot of information. What's another way we can look at this? Well, another way you can look at this is to go to modules. And so if students like that, that's another option for you. So if you go to modules, if you start, we have the general course discussion. So if you go there, anybody has a question, anything you want to know, it's a regular discussion. You just you type it in there. Make sure that you subscribe so that those notifications that you set, you'll get notified if somebody posts in the in that discussion. And then I'm going to go into student view so I can show you how this works. And so you have the welcome module, right? Start here. So if I start here, it's actually going to tell me I need to complete all the items, and I can see where you are with this. I can track that. And so I want to make sure that you you go through each thing. Welcome to growth and development. I read through it. I have this activity. Okay, here's how I contact the teachers. Here's some tips for success. And when I get to the bottom, there's some other things you can click. I like whales and dolphins, so you see a lot of pictures of those. There's a thing down here that will say mark as done, and you click it, and now it will say done. And then you just go to the next thing in the module. It's just these beginning modules so that I know that everybody's gotten the information. And if people have questions, then they can ask me. Now that people are on Google Chats, you don't have to necessarily ask a question in the group chat, although you can, but you can also individually message me. And I would prefer to get messages through Google Chats because I can keep a history on it. And it's just a quicker way, a way that I can respond to you. And then office hours, Mondays and Wednesdays in the evening, right? And so you just keep working through the module. There's different resources. We have our Panther Learning Labs. If you struggle with writing, they will actually help you proofread your paper, which I think is great. They'll give you tips on that. They have online office hours and things, Hartnell resources, Canvas resources, that's all there for you. And so you just kind of keep working through that. Tech support, if people have trouble with tech, I think everybody's probably good on that, but the information is there. And then for those of you that haven't taken online courses, there's some little things that you can do here to kind of prepare to know what it's like in an online course, as well as online, online education, right? So you're just working through the module. And then when you get to the end of it, that's netiquette, right? How to be polite online and be respectful, right? Because we want to be respectful. Have really good discussions. And so that tells you, hey, we're done. Make sure that you do that Google Chats activity. And that should take you to the next section, next module, which is the syllabus. And so who knows, like, what does the syllabus tell you? Why do we have a syllabus for a course?
Isn't it like an overview of the whole class, the outcome, and what we will be learning and stuff like that?
Yes, it is. Very good. And it's also considered a contract between you and me that says, this is what I'm going to do for you, and this is what you have to do to be successful in the course. So it's all laid out there for you. And so if you go to the syllabus module, again, it tells you information about how to contact me, but you also have the document itself. So if you click on this, I'll have to fix that and make it inline. I keep telling myself that. You actually have the whole written syllabus available to you, include the nursing piece in it. And then after you get through a couple pages, I'm probably giving people seizures, sorry. It will give you learning outcomes for the course and the course materials. This is the other place where you can find the information for key terms is in those resources. And we're going to use Zoom, and I have a Padlet we're going to do later, Google Chats. It's a 3-unit course. So one of the things about online courses, I'm not sure that students understand, is that being a 3-unit course, if we normally ran it over the 16 weeks or 18 weeks of a semester, as opposed to the 6 weeks that we have over the summer, there would be 54 hours, because we go by the 18-week calendar, even though we do 16-week sessions, 54 hours lecture contact hours. So if that's how many total hours, if we were in a classroom that we would have, and we only have 6 weeks to do it, how many hours per week would we be having lecture if we were face-to-face? If you divide 54 by the 6 weeks.
It would be 9, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so normally when you're in school, it's like you have maybe an hour and a half on Monday and an hour and a half on Wednesday, or so, depending on how many units the class is. But the expectation would be we would have 9 hours of lecture. And then on top of that, we're also counting the out of class hours, which for each unit is 2 hours of out of class time to do homework or do the assignments. So it's not just those 9 hours, it's also this other time, which again, depends on the student. Some people can go through really quickly, other students, it takes a while, but just know that that's where those numbers come from. Let me go through the objectives. You guys can read all that on your own, all the life stages, infancy, early childhood, middle adulthood, through end of life and grief. At the end. And then we do quizzes. We have different activities, assignments, key terms. There's my information yet again, student hours. And then the part you really care about, right? The assignments, right? That's what you guys really want to, I'm guessing, right? You want to know. And so I don't know why this format's so oddly. And so you actually have a breakdown by type of assignment, how many points everything's worth. And I also, once we get to the bottom of all that, someplace is a chart of assignments by week, so that for example, for week 1, these are all the assignments that are due. And the quizzes there as well. And then when we move into week 2, oh, look, I have these assignments that are due. And so it's all kind of there as like a one-stop shop. You can see it there. So for the quizzes, it's a 1 quiz a week. We are not required to have you make up quizzes. So it's your responsibility to make sure that you take the quiz. It's available. Like I said, it opens at Friday at 8. It closes at Sunday at midnight. And once you sit down to take it, you have to finish that session. And then I'm checking frequently so that I can go in and grade anything that I need to grade if it's like short answer, so that you can then take your second attempt if you would like to or need to. I don't know if other courses do second attempts, but you will have two attempts. So there's a couple different ways to do that. I'll let you guys figure that out. You need to let me know if you let me know ahead of time that you're going to miss a quiz, then we can make some arrangements. But if you don't do the quiz, you forget to do the quiz and then come to me afterwards, then then I really can't do anything, because I know people work on the weekends, and that's why I kind of expanded the time a little bit. And then you guys can read through the other pieces that talks about the hours. Our community guidelines, basically be respectful like you all are being, which is great. Celebrating diversity. This course, all your assignments are done in APA format. Or have any of you used APA, or are you using MLA?
For the most part, it's MLA.
MLA? Okay. And so we use APA. So you have some resources available, and I'll show you where they are in the modules as well. Is it Nevea? I'm trying to see who's asking the question, so I can't see everybody. Has asked a question in the chat for the upcoming quiz. will you have an idea of what to study? So yes, I will give you some focus areas after like Wednesday night or Thursday morning. And the capstone is due in week 6. That's at the end of the semester. That's like your semester. Well, it is a summer session. That's like your final exam. It's just not a multiple choice, excuse me, quiz. It's like a mini project. Is everybody with me still so far? Am I losing people, or is this good? Thumbs up. Thank you, Clarissa. Clarissa's the thumbs up person. We got thumbs up. Yay. All right. Oh, hey, Jennifer. There you are. Right. And so that would be the syllabus. So what you also have is the links to all those things. So for example, grading and assignments, it's in the modules. It's the same information, but now you also have the table, excuse me, right there for you. So you kind of know what the expectation is. So if we go back to modules, right, we went through the syllabus. We might remember to do our syllabus activity and go to that Google Doc. There's also information for the nursing program. There's your campus emergency statement, student support services. If anybody needs accommodations like extra time on quizzes or something, I can work with DSPS on that. That's not a problem. And then here's your information for the course, and then you're done with that module. All right, let's talk research paper. So in order to get through all the components of the research paper, you have to read the first one, which will then open and let you read the next one. So what we start with is our guidelines for this summer. So it's going to be due July 30th, which is in week 5, so that I have time to grade them. APA format, 7th edition, which includes all those components there. Excuse me. And basically what you're going to do is research one of the developmental stages that interests you. Students have many different reasons why they choose to research a certain age group, but you can choose infant, toddler. That gives you a list. I actually had 2 students, I think it was last summer, that actually did end of life, death and dying. So that was kind of interesting, but they did a nice job. So I've left it on there in case we have anybody that wants to be a hospice nurse at some point. And so then basically you decide, okay, I'm going to look at early adulthood, because I'm guessing a lot of you are in early adulthood. Or sometimes parents want to research the developmental stage that their kids are going to be in next, so they kind of know what to expect. And so it's basically broken down for you. The introduction, you're going to, I need to learn how to count. It's 2 questions, not 3. The introduction, that's what needs to be included in the introduction. Why'd you choose it? You know, which one did you choose? Why did you choose it? And what are you hoping to learn from it? And then the body is broken down. All the questions are for your specific chosen stage. So if we take early adulthood, that's what we're going to talk about. So I prefer paragraphs because I think it's easier to get your ideas together and spaced out and give them the time and effort that they deserve. And so section 1, basically the description of the age group. We're also going to talk about heredity versus environment on influences on development. And then section 2 is going to talk about, you're going to talk about nutritional needs, because if I'm an early adult versus an older person or an infant, I have different nutritional needs. And then you're going to describe also if those, if I lack vitamin C or vitamin D or some nutrient that I need, what would that look like as a nutritional deficiency? What am I at risk for? And then we're going to talk a little bit about Freud and the psychosexual theory of development, and then defense mechanisms. And you're going to give examples of defense mechanisms that, yes, even infants have defense mechanisms that are noted there. So the introduction is due at the end of this week. And then section 1 and section 2 are due at the end of week 2. And then section 3 and section 4 would be due after that. So there's a little bit every week so that you're building your paper so that by the time you get to week 5, your paper should be done, right? You shouldn't have to be starting from scratch the night before it's due, like many people, including myself, do sometimes. And so what will happen, for example, is the introduction, when you submit that, once that due date comes, I'm having the class do what are called peer reviews. They will be anonymous. And for example, who I have, Jennifer and Adrian. So Jennifer would turn hers in, and then Adrian would get a notification that there was a peer review to be done. And so you'd go to the peer review and you would read Jennifer's introduction. You just wouldn't know that it was Jennifer's unless she had her name in there for some reason. So you wouldn't know whose you were reading. And then you actually have the same rubric that you're going to be graded on, and you're going to check off what they did or maybe what they need to work on. And then you leave a little comment, and then you're good. And it's anonymous. And so Jennifer doesn't know that Adrian's the one that gave the feedback. Why do you think it's a good idea to do peer reviews like that? What are some thoughts on that? Do you have any ideas?
Is it to give kind of like a second opinion and something that you think about while you're writing the paper?
Yes, exactly. That's one of the things, right? So, you're helping each other out, right? If you're reading the introduction and maybe there's some spelling or grammar errors, you can point those out, or maybe they didn't answer, why they chose early adulthood. You can say, oh, it looks like you didn't provide a rationale. You might want to do that. The other thing that it does is that Adrian's looking at Jennifer's paper, and Adrian's you've already done your introduction. And so you're reading Jennifer's and going, wow, that was a really great introduction. I left this part out on mine, and I left this part out on mine. Like, it gives you an idea where you stand in terms of your writing style and how you're presenting it. And so you can go back and hopefully make it better if you need to, or Jennifer can be like, oh, those were great comments. Let me, fix it. So go back then, make it what it is. And then introduction's done, set that aside and work on the next section. And the information you'll get would be from the online, the open educational resources. And you can also do research through the Hartnell College Library. There's a link on the left-hand side. And I'll show you that. I can show you that if you haven't been there yet. And so then the next week, so section 3 is probably the most confusing, because this is the one that it depends on which stage you chose. And so at least one paragraph for each theorist. And we're going to talk about the theorists. And so if you choose someone who the stage is infant, early childhood, middle childhood, or adolescence, everybody's going to talk about Piaget, Erikson, and Kohlberg. But if you chose infant, for example, then you're going to use language development according to Vygotsky. Now, say you chose young adulthood, which is the one I was using as the example, I would do Piaget, Erikson, and Kohlberg, but then I actually have a choice. I can either choose Levenger, Levinson, or Havighurst. Does that make sense? So everybody does Piaget, Erikson, and Kohlberg, and then for the fourth one, you get to choose. So then if it's late adult or advanced old age, again, Piaget, Erikson, Kohlberg, but you can choose the ones that were used in the previous, or you can choose to include Peck or Atchley, who have stages of retirement and older adults. And then I also added, if someone chooses to do end of life or death and dying, you would do Piaget, Erikson, and Kohlberg, and then actually look at stages of grief and mourning through Kubler-Ross, the DABDA, denial, anger, bargaining one, and then Warden and Bowlby. So that's where the research pieces are going to come in, and you're going to attach it to that particular stage that you've chosen. And then section 4, emotional development, give examples, and then at least 3 appropriate play or social activities for that age group or developmental stage. Did I lose people? Or you does it kind of make sense? And you'll have time, you can ask questions. But that's why it's broken into separate pieces. And then your conclusion, right? So everything, this is what you need to have in your conclusion. It should be hopefully in 3 paragraphs that talks about each thing. What did you learn? Did you reach your goal of what you wanted to accomplish from the introduction? Do you know anybody that's in the age group? what do you know about that person? If you don't, then think of somebody you've seen in public or media, and compare what you learned with them. And then the majority of the points for this section come with how is the information you learned while writing the paper going to help you in other settings in your future career, and provide examples. And then references, again, APA format, at least 3 references. And then there's references and in-text citations. If you click on 7th edition APA formatting, because I left student, it's in student view, my bad. Let me get out of student view. Let me show you where that is. It's the only thing I don't like about student view. It doesn't always do what I need it to do. That page should not be disabled either. So I should hopefully, let's see what's in the syllabus. And it should be 7th edition APA formatting. There we go. Right. And so there's actually a video that shows you how to write the paper for student papers. And then Purdue Online Writing Lab, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is the best source to use. And so you click on the link, it will take you there, and it has actually shows you APA format, how to the general format basics, like if you have electronic sources, if you're using books, how to do the in the basics, you'll have the in-text citations. So I think it's a really good resource that you have access to, as well as the library. You can go to Hartnell College Library. There's a link right there. It takes you directly to the library. When there's research resources, you have questions, they have, you can talk to people or message people. Your research resources, that's a tongue twister, isn't it? So these are all the databases that are available in nursing and health sciences. CINAHL Complete and EBSCO Host are the ones that we generally use. You could use other ones, but those are the 2 ones. And then you click on that, and you have to put your number in, and then you'll be able to access those resources, or contact the librarian if you need to. Any questions? I know I'm throwing a lot at you at once, but anything on the developmental paper? Any questions on that? So there's a piece due every week. The conclusion and references are due together in the same week, in week 4. A student had asked me previously, what do we do about the references? So you don't have to turn the reference page in, but as you're writing the paper, you're going to have some in-text citations, hopefully. So make sure you keep track of those when you're doing that. Okay. And
we're turning in, do they need to be completed with in-text citations and stuff like that?
Well, that was the question that the other student had. And the thing is that not necessarily, because you're not going to have a reference page. So, if you have an in-text citation, I have nothing to match it to. However, if you're writing the information and you're getting it from a different source, you should have, like Overstreet 2019, whatever page, or probably no page to do that one, right? There should be something like that there, because you shouldn't just be writing things off the top of your head, right? You're getting this research from someplace, right? So it would be a good idea to keep track of, or at least keep track of the in-text citations on a separate piece of paper if you don't want to put them in the paper that you're turning in. For example, the introduction, you're probably not going to have an in-text citation because it's the introduction, right? There is nothing really to research. But as you start to go through the theorists and the nutrition and those kind of things, you're going to be getting that information from someplace. You wouldn't be docked points on anything because it's not the end. We're really just looking at the content. Does that help? Does that make sense? But if you don't have in-text citations, or you don't know where you got the information, then that's a problem, right? So there's not points that will be deducted though.
Yeah, I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I guess it's a little bit hard for me, I guess, because I write papers a little different, I guess. I just throw out ideas, and then I throw a lot of ideas out, and then whatever from the research that I do is what I keep and leave stuff out and just write. But I don't ever write for say like a complete paragraph on a draft paper. Like I just have like incomplete, not even
Gotcha.
proper sentences. And then once I get done doing all the research, then I go back and I just try to explain my ideas to the best that I can according to the research that I've done. So it's going to be a little bit hard for me, I guess.
So you don't have to have the in-text citations in there. That's not a requirement, but just know when you turn the paper in at the end, the completed paper, that you'll need the in-text citations and the reference page at that point.
Yeah, and the APA stuff and all that stuff.
Yeah. Good
So just to
question. Yeah.
clarify,
Yes.
how you said how each week we add to the essay, I guess. So we don't have to include our citations or our references throughout those weeks, but keep note of it on a separate piece of paper so we can turn it in at the very end.
Or whatever works for you. You can put the citations in it, but that's not what we're looking for. That the peer review isn't going to look at that. I'm not going to look at that.
Yeah.
When you get to the reference page, you'll have your references and hopefully it should match to your in-text citations.
Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Is that, yeah?
Thanks.
Good question. All right, and then the, excuse me, capstone reflection, everybody kind of freaks out with the word capstone. But all that means is like pulling everything together that you've learned from the course. I hesitate to say semester because it's only 6 weeks, but it is the summer semester. So what you're going to do here is you're going to pull everything that you've learned in the course and apply it to a family from the media. It can be a cartoon family. I've had students do The Simpsons. I've had people do The Incredibles. You know, there's different things like that. Brady Bunch, Modern Family. Those are some of the examples that I have there. And you're going to put a presentation together that speaks to certain points there. You can do a PowerPoint, you can do Google Slides, Prezi, you could do a paper. It's whatever your choice is of how you would like to present that information. I did put an example from the Brady Bunch. I'm not sure everybody knows. I'm hoping people know the Brady Bunch, but it just, and you wouldn't do it like this because this isn't like a very creative format at all, but it gives you examples of what I'm looking for, right? And talking about the different, the stages and health concerns. And then it tells you what you need to do. Where is it? The assignment guidelines, what you need to do. Are they functional, dysfunctional? Give examples from the show, right? So if you're going to do a Google Slides, maybe you find on YouTube a clip from the show or something, you can add that in. And is there a health concern based on their developmental age? Anybody? So Simpsons, anybody a Simpsons fan? Maybe. How about grandpa? What health issue does grandpa have? Or what would you think an older adult in, I don't know, he's probably in his 80s or 90s would have? So he has a hearing deficit, right? Like his hearing's going. So he doesn't always hear Bart and Lisa. And then you're going to describe the psychosocial development, social development, that kind of thing. And you don't have to provide references for this one. Yay! And so that's worth 50 points. There's a rubric for everything. So follow the rubric, and that's worth 50 points. And that's due in week 6. I want to say it's due, I think on Thursday or Friday of week 6. So I have time to get it back to you. All right, everybody with me so far? Because we're going to move to week 1, and that's going to show you kind of how the weeks work. Any questions before I move forward? All right, hearing no questions, feel free, or you can put them in the chat. I think that will pop up for me. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I did that. We did that. All right, week 1. We are in week 1. And we already did the Zoom meeting. So remember, the home page is the overview. right? And so we looked at the overview already. So now the first lesson, the first thing that we talked about in the overview that we looked at was communication. Oh, okay, so let me look at that lesson. So you click on the lesson for communication. It will take you back to module 1, week 1 module, but then it will give you the objectives for the lesson. Here's a link, another link again to that chapter on communication. There are some PowerPoint slides. There's a little note on if you're not able to download the PowerPoint slides. And then I have a recorded lesson that I did several years ago that goes through the slides and the chapter and the words. And so a lot of the vocab words, the key terms, are going to be found, like I said, in that chapter, but also in the PowerPoint, in the recording for these first couple weeks. And then there's this nonverbal cues video that I play from friends. And then you have supplemental resources. So, you know, guidelines for parent-child communication, marriage communication, how does it work? Things like that. And so that's your communication lesson. And then it will take you to the next thing, the next lesson, which is Healthy People 2030, Social Determinants of Health, SDOH's Social Determinants of Health, and Blue Zones. And it will give you the objectives for the lesson. Governmental Influence is a separate lesson, and so I have to move that over. But again, you've got some PowerPoint slides for Healthy People, the Government Influences. There's, again, a video that I recorded a couple years ago, because you can tell because it says Healthy People 2020. And then the reading that you have is going to the Healthy People 2030 website, going to the Blue Zones website. We're also doing Blue Zones in Salinas Valley. So you can go there as well and see what's being offered in Salinas. So there's not necessarily a whole lot of reading in week 1, which I think is kind of nice. And then here's the Governmental Influences. We're talking about Medicare, Medicaid. And then there's a bunch of videos, different TED Talks and videos that talk about different things, like, is it a right to have healthcare, Medicare versus Medi-Cal supplements, because nobody understands, I don't even understand Medicare. And so what is the government's role in healthcare, right? Because a lot of people are talking about socialized medicine versus what the current system that we have. And how does that relate to growth and development? Well, if you're a parent, I know somebody here is a parent, right? You go to the doctor, but you have to take your kids to the doctor. And depending on what kind of insurance that dictates which physician you can see or what types of services you can receive, and also looking at access to healthcare. So that's how we're going to tie healthcare in with the developmental stages. And so this is your lesson on healthcare, right? And what about socialized healthcare, right? So that's a little pro-con versus that. And then some other legislative websites and things that have to do with nursing. So if people that are nursing are interested, you can see that. And there's the healthcare reform video. And so that's basically the lesson there. There's your reminder, get that initial post done. I'm going right through the module, right? I can just keep going through the module. Here's the getting to know you discussion. It will tell you the due dates, initial post, response to peers, and you're actually in the discussion, right? Oh, I can't subscribe because I'm not. There we go. I don't know if that takes me. I have to scroll all the way to the bottom. Let's see. Oh, it does. There we go. Next. And then you have two discussions. You have the getting to know you, and then you have discussion for Healthy People 2030. So this is a reminder for the initial post. That's on Thursday. So the day after the getting to know you post. And then it will take you to the actual discussion and tells you when things are due. No, my turn for the dogs. And you're going to talk about, it's going to tell you about leading health indicators, and you're actually going to focus on Healthy People 2030 objectives based on populations, which, oh, look, infants, children, early adult, adults, women, men, LGBTQ, people with disabilities. So for example, if I'm doing infants, if I'm researching infants, it will take me there. And I can now do research that's going to, overall improving overall health and safety of infants. Read through it. If you have questions, you can ask. I'll have office hours tomorrow night as well. And then it just walks you through what you need to do in your peer responses. And there's some supporting materials if you need other resources there. And for the discussions, you have to reply before you can see other people's responses. That's how they're set up. And then this next section is assignments. So there's the Google Chats assignment. You have your rubric. So always look at the rubric because it'll tell you how many sentences or how many words or how to organize things. The syllabus review, we had looked at that one already. You can also, it'll show you the rubric there. I'm hoping this is making sense because I'm just going through the module, right? And then there's your key terms, right? So provide definitions. So each definition is worth 2 points. So it's the definition itself and then including the reference. So you get really good at APA format. And so these, like the first 5 are all in the communication lesson. And then health promotion, disease prevention, blue zones, you're going to be able to find that when you're working on the Health of People 2030 on that lesson. And then Medicare, Medicaid empowerment would be with the government lesson is where you would find those. And there's the next keywords. So communication styles is another one. This one you can start, but it's not due till the end of week 2. So if you're prioritizing things to do, drop this to the bottom of the list. So you're going to figure out what communication style kind of fits you, what you think, and then you're going to go to the communication styles Google Doc, and I think Yellie's already in there. Then you add your name to whichever style you think you are, and then once everybody's done that, then I'll go in and put you in groups, right? If you go to the people tab, you can be put in groups, and then there's an assignment that you're going to work on as a group, and that's where Google Chats can help, because then you can make your own little separate group or figure out how to get a hold of each other so that you can complete the group assignment. And there's a rubric, and so now I'm at the end of my module. So if we go back to modules, that's all I did is walk through each part of that module, and each module is set up the same way. When the quiz is open, the quiz will show up here, and then at the end of each week I usually post a summary of your accomplishments, what you all have accomplished for the week, so that you can see that, including like the average on the quiz or different things that you learned about each other. You also, I don't know if that's going to take me to the grades tab or not. You can check your grades in the grades tab. Oh, see, there it goes. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you. So do you know where, sorry, my son must be home, to find feedback, right? When I leave feedback for you, so maybe I want you to redo something or whatever, what will happen is for the assignment, oh, here we go. So for example, the syllabus review activity, you're looking at, hold on one second. Can we control the dogs a bit, please? Maybe not. No, not gonna happen. Okay, we'll just have to bear with the barking, sorry. It will tell you your score, which was out of 10. And then if you look over here, you'll see this little icon that looks like a clipboard. What that is the actual rubric. And so it will show you that, that you earned the 10 points. However, if you didn't earn 10 points, there will be a little comment from me. Say you earned 8 points, it'll have 8. And then there'll be a little comment from me with why points were deducted. Right. So maybe you didn't do it, or you wrote half of something, I don't know, then points were deducted, not so much on this activity. But there will also, if I leave a comment, then there's another little icon that shows up here, so that you've got a comment so that you can look at it. You can also set those things in your notifications. So that's a really important place to know to go. So all of that is there. You can also go, for example, that's not going to tell me anything. Let's go back up here to this one. If you click on the actual assignment itself, it will show you whatever you submitted. And then if I've left you a comment, you can also reply to the comment. So I can look at the rubric, click on that. Oh, okay, she said to do this, got it. And it shows you that I'm the one that gave the comment, and then you can reply here in the comment. So I don't think students necessarily understand that. So that's why I like to show that. And then the people tab, there'll be a group for the communication groups, and you all will have a group that you can click on, so you know what you'll be able to do. It's not going to take me to Confer-Zoom, but you can go to Confer-Zoom. If I do a Zoom out of Confer-Zoom, that's where you'll find it. And then you can also find the announcements from the announcement tab, but they're also on your homepage when you land on the homepage. All right, I think that about covers it. I have week 1 open right now in modules. I will get week 2 open probably Wednesday, Thursday, and then the following weeks will open up sooner. I don't want people working too far ahead because it's a lot of work. But you can see when we're going to talk about cultural considerations and the developmental theories. You can see it runs the same way. There's a lesson, there's a discussion, the assignments are listed there, and then there'll be a quiz in the weekly summary, right? So that's all there. So that's basically what I had. That usually takes about an hour, which it about did. And I'm open to any questions. This is being recorded. It'll take a while, but I'll post it so that other people can see it. Yes, so the textbook for the course is provided by me through the link that you download onto your laptops in the syllabus. Yes, so it's in the syllabus. It's also in that welcome, the welcome. Oh, sorry, that was a direct message, but it was a great question. Sorry. It's also in the, let's see if I'm on my homepage. Go back to the homepage. It's in that welcome announcement that was there. And then it's also, if you go to the syllabus and you go to course materials, S20 course materials, or to the document itself, there are the textbooks. So yes, you click on that one, it takes you to a website. You can save that to your desktop or however or to your bar, however you want to do that. And then the other one is an actual PDF of a textbook. And however you want to do that, you can download it and put it on your desktop or have a link, whatever works for you. But those are the textbooks for the course. And then for the lessons themselves, you can use those as well. There might be something to read, like for communication, for example, there's that communication chapter, and then any videos or other links that are there. So does that, hopefully, I'm gonna stop sharing now. Okay. Oh, okay. So there's a question, how we submit the assignments, like for the key terms. Okay. So let me share my screen again. So when you're working through the assignments, I would go to modules, right? And so let me go back into student view. And so I'm in week 1, right? And I've gone through, I go down to near the bottom, and that's where the assignments are. And I look, oh, okay, key terms, those are due on July 3rd. Okay, so I click on key terms, and this is where it will tell you what the assignment is, right? And there's your rubric. And then if you go to start assignments, then you are able to upload a file if you want. That's a video if you want to do a video, but you can you can upload the file. You can type in it, but that doesn't work very well. I think it's better to just upload a file. And then you click submit assignment. You can also put little comments here if you have any questions or something you want me to know, and then submit assignment, and it will go through. The ones for anything on a Google Doc, there's no submission, because I will go through and see what you've replied, and then I'll go through and mark that in the grade book. There wouldn't be a submission for that. Yeah, no problem. So Jen's got that. All righty. So again, my office hours will be the Monday, Wednesdays. The best way to get a hold of me is through Google Chat. I will try and do like this will count as the week 1 walkthrough, like how we did the assignments and where to find them, but I'll do that for the subsequent weeks, so you know where to find the assignments and what the expectations are. And any questions or your thoughts? Does it seem laid out to where you can understand it, make sense on how to progress through things? So I got a thumbs up there. And if it doesn't make sense, that's okay too. You know, just get a hold of me and we'll work through it. All righty. Well, I didn't have anything. That was pretty much what I had. And if everybody's good, I'm going to stop the recording.